so glad we can edit this, but we can't edit it because we're live on Facebook right now, Mel McMahon.
Are you sure we're live on Facebook?
I'm pretty sure. Let's check. We're growing our audience.
Waiting.
It's like AOL dial-up all over again. Where's our audience?
I don't know. There we are.
Look at
We're
us.
all the way down there for some reason.
Look how big we are on the screen.
Is that what we're telling people? No.
Why is it so slow?
This could just be my computer.
It could just be your computer. Oh, now we're echoing.
Hang
How
on.
fun is this? I've never watched myself. And what's really fun is we have this like light up here that makes my bald head look even balder, right?
It sure does.
Cool. All right. Well, hi everybody. Thanks for joining me, Mel. Troy here from AddressTwo and our regular Wednesday webinar, which we're not on the web. Well, we are on the web, but we're not. We're live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? So we're here. We do this every fourth Wednesday of the month where we sit down with an industry expert, an AddressTwo user. All of the above is what we do here on Wednesdays. I have my good friend Mel from IndianaOrginals. Mel, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is fun.
I know, it is kind of fun and cheesy, and I love doing these things. And it breaks a little bit of the monotony of our how-tos and click here, click there. And I have a lot of fun doing these. And this records live, just so you know, but then it actually disappears for a little bit, and then I post it back on the website tomorrow morning. Anyway, Mel, IndianaOrginals, what is it?
Well, we are helping simplify the search for local through our app and IndianaOrginals.com.
You haven't practiced that.
Maybe a few times. I may
She's
have said that a few
tattoo,
times.
but it's not for Facebook, so.
Yeah, but the simple place, we certify businesses as local.
Okay.
So if you are an Indiana-based business, headquartered here, locally owned and operated, and not part of an out-of-state franchise, you can be an Indiana original.
So born and raised here in Indiana.
Pretty much. We have some people who have moved here and put their roots down here. That's cool, too. But what we're trying to do is help people support local businesses easier.
Why is local important?
It's super important. So Indiana-based business owners put 3 to 5 times more money back into the local economy. That's a lot of
3
money.
to 5 times more money back into the local economy.
As opposed to a franchise that's headquartered out of state or a national chain.
So in other words, it's kind of like that, hey, for every dollar spent, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So you might spend $1 here and it stays $1, or you can spend $1 over here and it becomes 3.
I like that idea.
You know, it's simple math. So
Okay.
I know you can do that in your head, right?
You know what? Ask Molly. My daughter is amazing at math.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do is really support our community. So our mission is to create healthier, stronger communities and more jobs in Indiana by encouraging people to use Indiana-based businesses.
Now it's all clicking. So how do they find these Indiana-based businesses?
We can go to IndianaOrginals.com.
Okay.
As a consumer, you can search for free.
Okay.
And you can also use our app, which is for iPhone or Android.
So when you're out and about, you're like, I'm going to get some shopping done this weekend. Even if you're sitting on the couch, I guarantee you probably have one of these,
Somewhere close.
Somewhere sitting close, and you can go, hey, let's shop local this weekend. So
Yeah,
that's the point of
exactly.
IndianaOrginals.
Yeah, and we try to show people that it's easy to live a local lifestyle if you know where to look. So it could be the mattress you wake up on in the morning. It could be the children's books you're reading to your kids at night. You can do all of that locally if you know where to look.
That's awesome. It could be your software program, couldn't it?
It could,
Look at
yes,
that
which is why
segue.
we use AddressTwo.
That's awesome. So, all right, so you've been around AddressTwo for quite some time now. 2 years, 3 years?
3 years, I
3
think.
years. That's awesome. I'm going to pick on her a little bit here because I love the fact that she's done this. You may not be able to see it that closely, but she has Addified, I think I just made up a new word, but she has Addified her computer here. So, why do you need AddressTwo for your business?
Well, it really helps me keep track of everything. We have over 200 members now. That's a lot of information to keep in my head. When we first started...
Hold on, you have 200 members that are
over 200.
Indiana-based,
yes.
small businesses, medium-sized, like...
All different sizes. Some are one employee and the mouse in their pocket. Some have 100 employees. All different sizes.
So cool.
But all of these businesses want to build their communities. They want to be known as local, and they want people to know that they are right here in their neighborhood.
Sure.
And so I used to be able to keep all of that in my head when we first started. You know, I had Excel spreadsheets, I had notebooks, that kind of thing. Well, what happened is, as we grew in membership, our team had to grow, right? So, my husband who does Indian Originals with me, he'd be like, well, hey, who's this person? When did they join? Do they owe us money? When's the last time you talked to them?
Right.
All of that information was in my head. So it's kind of like that Aaron Brockovich moment when the lawyer pulls her files and it's like, well, we have to put all of these in a system. And she gets very offended and she can rattle all that stuff off her head. Well, that's me. I can give you all that information.
Yep.
But that doesn't do my teammates any good. And eventually, there's something I don't remember, right? Or I'm like, oh my gosh, when was the last time I talked to them in person?
Yep.
When do I need to follow up with them again? When is their membership up for renewal?
So
I've been able
you
to
just named like 7 things right in a row.
Have you seen my customized fields that I've put on my member profiles?
I've seen those.
There are quite a few because I need all of that information. And spreadsheets don't cut it anymore. Handwriting everything, it doesn't last.
Nope.
So it's not something I can do consistently. And so with the customized fields, I've been able to make sure that I have all the boxes checked for when we onboard a new member, or if a business moves, or if, let's say, it goes out of business, they don't qualify for membership anymore, then they have to be removed somehow, right? So I can control all of that with AddressTwo.
Is it fairly fast and easy to do? Once you know and
Once
have the
you know
process
what you're
there?
doing and you've built the proper process, yes. But that's one of the things that I love about the member profile or the contact or account, whatever you
Sure.
want to look at, is as we grow and as things change, it's grown with us. So when we first started, there were just a few fields in there. I had their join date,
Yep.
their status, and I think I had, maybe like an email list. That was really all it was. Well, now I have their join date. How did they learn about us? What kind of payment are they using? What's the
Right.
name on that payment? There's so many different fields in there because this is all information that I need to be keeping track of.
When you say you started with 3 custom fields or 3 fields in there, and then you grew to know that you needed those additional 3 to 4 fields, how did you come up with that? How did you know you needed that? I mean, that would be my next question is, when you get in there and see those and go, I need to track that, like, how did that come up in your process of learning the new system and implementing it into your business?
Well, for me, it was being asked questions by someone else.
Got it.
And
so
so,
if Lance says,
yeah,
hey,
when is their payment up for renewal? That is a really important question because if you're not taking in money, you're a hobby,
Right.
not a business.
Right.
So having those questions, going back and forth with someone and creating these onboarding processes to make sure that our members have the right information about how to get the most out of their membership.
Sure.
That's where a lot of these fields and ideas came from. It's like, oh, I need to remember to do that. So it's kind of like your checklist, but online.
Yeah.
And so I used to have, I should have brought an example with me because I still have them, a spreadsheet that I created that has a checklist depending on which
think I
level
saw
of
that
membership,
checklist.
probably, which level of membership someone signs up for.
Yes, I have
Well,
seen
what
that
I was doing
checklist.
is I was handwriting all of this stuff out, which takes the process from about a 6-minute onboarding process to 12 minutes. Like it doubles it to handwrite all this out. And so I was looking at AddressTwo one day and I said, hey, I can create custom fields and put all of this in AddressTwo to make sure that I did that.
Yep.
So even down to making sure that when a new listing is put on IndianaOrginals.com, making sure the listing address is correct.
That's awesome.
That checkbox is now in my member profile on AddressTwo because I now copy that profile listing and put it in AddressTwo
Done.
so I can check and make sure that it showed up right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now we've talked about organization a little bit as far as how it helps you stay organized. Any rescue hero stories of where it's benefited your business the most?
I would say one of the biggest benefits is the automatic email that Addie, the assistant,
We
sends
love her.
out
every day.
BCC Addie at AddressTwo.com.
Yes, and I have labels here that say BCC Addie, BCC Addie, BCC Addie, oh, BCC Addie, and then I have a Post-it down here at the bottom with 5 simple CRM habits. And if you're not...
Wait a minute, you mean these Post-its right here that I just
Yes.
happen to have?
I have several of those Post-it pads, for sure.
And it helps you remember, doesn't it?
It does, because if it's out of your head, then you can focus on things that are important.
Yeah.
And what really slows down your processes is having to remember everything. So if you have it written out, it's not stuck in your head, blocking you from remembering something else or blocking your flow or, just trying to move on to the next thing. And so getting that email every morning like, hey, these are the people you need to follow up with today, Now, what I do is I have a daily planner that I use to help me organize everything. And so I do write down those tasks
Sure.
because it helps me remember that I need to do them.
Do you get them all done then?
No.
So you get the red email.
I get
from
the red,
Maddie.
yes.
Yeah.
There's lots of
I
things
hate
in
it when
red.
she does that.
But it's so helpful, though.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it's stuck on there for a long time, obviously
It's not important.
it's not important.
Yeah.
So then you just recategorize it. Or
That,
you,
or if you're an employee, you're fired. One of the two. Right?
yes, yes. If you're an employee, they should not be in red.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I can't encourage you guys more to, same with me, same with Mel, is taking, and by the way, if you do want a Post-it note, shoot me an email, troy@address2.com. These are super helpful. It's so funny. For 6 years of working here, I'm like, during my first Wednesday demo, I'm like, take a Post-it note now and write this down. And I was like, why can't I just create one and
There
send
you
it
go.
to my friends? So again, I have tons of Post-it notes, and this is what got me using it. I think Mel, after all these years and getting a new computer here, looking at her computer, she's now turning into, slowly but surely, an expert. And that's what I always think is fun about AddressTwo, is a lot of times you guys figure out things before I even considered things, custom fields, expiration dates, that kind of stuff, and how to search and query that stuff. But it begins with the simple steps. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's those 5 simple steps that you have the space, especially, I mean, if you still use a desktop, that's, put it on your screen. But you've got those spaces on your laptops there. Just take it and Scotch tape it to here. Eventually that'll wear off. Eventually it becomes a habit, I think. And one day, Mel, you're going to be able to be rip, because you just know. And that's one of the things I really encourage folks to do. I actually had a call with a person yesterday who had really great ideas. Hey, how do I customize this? How do I do this? But as you start, it's starting with those. Would you agree there?
Yes. You have to learn how to keep track of everything.
It's a whole process. You can have any CRM program out there. I don't care if it's an Excel sheet or if it's the biggest, most robust process or machine out there. But really, when it boils down to it, is that start simple and let it grow with your business. Kind of like what Mel was saying here is, she started with this, and then when Lance would say, hey, when's such and so's membership up? We probably need to get some money. Oh, I could probably add that as a custom field. And a lot of times Mel as well will call me and go, hey, Troy, how do I do this? And I think that would be the 6th step. I failed to put the 6th step process on there. But that 6th step is that grow with these. And then that 6th step is call me, call Ann in our support office, and ask those questions of how to set up custom fields. I mean, a lot of folks don't even know that we have custom fields available. They just think that, here, this is what it is. And realistically, there's 6 separate different types of custom fields and 3 different places that you can put it. So if you have any questions on custom fields, make sure to visit the tutorial page up there. And there's quite a few drop-downs videos on how to customize that.
And a lot of it's intuitive, too. So I had the custom fields, right? And I wanted to put them in a particular order. And looking at it, I was like, wait a second. These are all showing up in alphabetical order. And so I just put a number or a symbol in front of the title so they would be in the order that I wanted them to, because the order is the flow that I have to go through when I'm putting a new member into the system.
That's awesome. So again, to clarify what she said there is that I've got a custom, I've got multiple custom fields, but there's a certain order that they need to go in. Especially if you've migrated from our first version to our second version, or from another CRM to AddressTwo, is if there's a certain amount of flow to those custom fields. I want customer status here, join date here, online profile completed here. If you do put a number 1 out in front of that custom field, that will align it, or number 2, 3, 4 correspondingly, or A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I think is what you found, which, again, I didn't know that. She put that in our Facebook group page, by the way, if you're a member, or a member.
A user.
A user. We do have a group page available, too. You should be able to get to that down in that corner over there. You like how I'm trying to actually pretend like we're live on Facebook. But I believe it's down in that corner over there where you'll say join a group. And we do have a group page where Mal put that up, and a couple people responded, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I responded and said, who can respond and figure that out? Thank you, John Frederick from Driver Source. That's awesome. So, Mel, what I actually like what you're talking about, too, is the fact is that you talked about how you started from the beginning, then you've got these custom fields. Talk a little bit more about the email side of things. How's that working for you? Are you seeing the benefits of getting the word out, et cetera?
Well, something that I thought when I first started was like, oh, I'll just, have my member list and I'll put all the emails into the blind copy line of
Yep.
my Gmail and everything will be fine.
It worked for about 3 months until
Right,
you
until you
had
grow,
501.
it doesn't work, right? So being able to set up campaign emails or I just need to send an email to the group, I can sort people out into lists. So we have our members, we have past members, we have people who work for a company that aren't the main contact but still need to be informed of what's going on.
Sure.
We have events. So we have people who sign up for events and they need event information. So there's lots of different ways to segment those things out. And doing it in my email by itself just was not the best way to do it. It's extremely time consuming. The way that things are grouped, you have to expand everything and go back and look. But the real benefit to me is being able to see what someone did with that email. So if I have a member who's like, hey, I didn't get that information, I can go back and look at that email I sent out and say, oh, well, I can see here it wasn't opened.
Yep.
Let's check your spam folder, check the junk folder, see where it
Hey,
went.
there it is.
Oh, hey, I found it.
Yep.
And so it's able to help me make sure that our members are getting the right communication. And then if someone says, hey, I didn't know about that, I'll be like, oh, well, it looks like you opened that email 6 different times. So are you sure?
Are you sure about
Are you
that?
sure?
Are you really
I'm
sure?
confused.
You brought up a great point too, and that goes for any of our users that are currently looking is that when you use an email system like AddressTwo or Mail Something or the other or Consistent,
Something like that.
those guys. A lot of times, we do get a support call every once in a while. Hey, my emails are going to junk. But Indiana Originals members or any of our other users, what you need to realize is that that's a perfect opportunity for you to make that call. It's a touch base. Hey there, saw you didn't get my email. It may have been delivered to your junk mail. People get upset about that on my side of things. I think it's I shouldn't say hysterical because that's not what I want to say, but it's a little bit funny to me because I laugh and I look at that as an opportunity for a touch. I mean, they say nowadays, I think back in the day when you and I started in sales, it was like 7 to 10 touches. It's like 21 or something now is the average
a lot
in only
more.
like 5 years time. And the more you're reaching out and touching a customer or a prospect for that matter, don't look at it as, oh man, my email went to spam. Look at it as the opportunity to say, hey, I noticed my email may have gone to your spam or junk mail folder. Do me a favor. Go in there and click not junk, and it goes from then on out. You'll have no problem, but you did get to touch base with that customer.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're going, hey, Mel, what's the next event that's coming up at Indiana Originals? Or, hey, Troy, when's your next webinar? I personally, again, I look at them as a lot of times as opportunities.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, when you have someone that has subscribed to your email list or they're expecting to get emails from you, it doesn't matter how you're really sending that email.
No.
Because they want it.
Yep.
Right? So, I used to send my member emails, every Tuesday because I thought that's what I had to do. Well, no, I need to send my member emails when there's pertinent content or information that they need to have. So sometimes it's a Tuesday, sometimes it's a Monday, sometimes it's a Friday. If there's consistent things, I try to keep it consistent, but they're expecting to hear from me anyway.
Yeah, I think that's funny. In my my church, I sit on the communications board at our church, and we try to send our email out every Friday morning. Now, are there things that we miss? Yes. But, you bring up that opportunity, but then if we miss it, it's okay to email again.
Right.
That's the point is that you... Check our sound, make sure we're good. Hey, we are good.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I know, we were just getting good talking about email marketing. It was exciting. Folks, don't forget to charge your batteries when you have cool little technology cameras that battery doesn't last that long. So we were talking about emails, and you were talking a little bit about how you can view and see what people opened, et cetera. That's one of the advantages for me, and I think I've talked about this before, but for me, I used AddressTwo as a CRM. Strictly just, hey, following up with people, staying top of mind, et cetera. But then when the email side came along, when Nick was like, hey, come work for AddressTwo, and I went, what? And it's from that standpoint of you can really segment, you can send, but then you can see who did what with them. Now, you don't want to creep people out.
Right.
And, hey, Mel, I saw you opened my email.
Right.
Freak.
No, but one of my favorite features, though, is the reply all feature.
Okay, talk about that.
So every once in a while, I'll send out an email that has a lot of details in it, and then I'm like, oh, man, I should have put that in there. or, oh, that would be valuable, or, hey, I need to clarify something. Well, instead of, recreating an email and then sending a whole new email, I can just click reply all and be like, hey, might not have noticed, but I messed up the date for the next member mixer, or I said it was a Wednesday and it's really a Tuesday or something. You can just write a quick note. Thanks, Mel. Well, not only does that put it in their inbox again, but it gives you a chance to not have to redo everything.
Yeah. Well, and it actually really increases engagement too.
Right.
You may not see it on the open side of things, but you may see it. What I find, what Market Wagon, which is again where we're at the moment, what they find a lot of times is that simple reminder of seeing it again will either A, get them to open it because they'll go, I like to use like reply or what is it in the subject line? I put oops and then RE colon if I forget something in an email. It's also really great for special offers that you have out there. So, hey, we're doing a one-time sell for something here at Market Wagon or whatever, but then you hit that reply all button and go, hey, just want to make sure you didn't miss this.
Right.
You don't want to abuse it by any means, but at the same time, it really, again, it's kind of funny from a statistical standpoint. If you'll see it get opened, again, you may see it open less even, is sometimes what I find, but then your phone starts ringing. Hey, I'm interested in that.
Right, or if you have a deadline. A lot of times for event signups, we have deadlines. And so instead of, sending out a whole new reminder email, I'll just click reply all. Hey.
Didn't mess things up again. Technology is awesome. Yay. So, Mel, you emailed yesterday, and you were like, yeah, I'll be there at 3 o'clock today, but you're going to be super proud of me. Tell me why I'm proud of you.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I love the way this conversation is going because I do this all the time, and I kind of go 10,000 different directions, but we really have talked a lot about, you first came on because you were using Excel sheets, and other people needed to know what was going on in your business. Then you've advanced into we're actually talking every Wednesday's webinars, if you will, but you've advanced into how do I use custom fields and lists and queries, and then the third one was how do I use email. But you had a specific win yesterday that you went, you'd be so proud of me, and I was.
I sure did. And I was happy to tell you that because, I kind of feel like a guinea pig for in some ways. When you have a new feature, hey, Mel, can you check this out? Because I'll give you honest feedback.
Oh, yes.
And not brutally honest, just honest.
It's honest. I love it.
And you help me and I help you, and it's great because we're helping businesses grow by growing this software, right? So for our event signups in the past, I have created Google Forms that go from my website. You click on a link. It takes you outside of my website to a Google form. You fill out the Google form, and then you hope they see the link of where they're supposed to go to pay, and you get the process of the sign-up done.
And if they don't, then you have to make the phone
calls. If you don't, then you have to call them or follow up with them, and it's super cumbersome. And then on top of that, then you have to put that Google information into AddressTwo, the info from the Google form into AddressTwo, then add them to a list, and then get them all caught up on the emails.
That's a lot of manual work.
It's a lot. And, we have lots of different vendors, lots of different businesses at these marketplace events.
You do at least
we do a lot.
2 to 3 at least on average a month, right?
Right. Between the mixers and then special educational opportunities and then teaming up with other businesses to get our IndianaOrginals members at their existing events.
Showcases.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I was sitting in front of my computer yesterday, and I was thinking about this. And I said, hey, on my website, I have a newsletter sign up. And I get email notifications when people sign up for a newsletter. And then I can use that information and AddressTwo, that list that's created, to send out news.
Just your email newsletter.
And I'm like, I wonder if I could create my event signups using a web form. And then take them directly to a payment page. And then if they signed up through that web form, they would automatically be put on a list in AddressTwo. So then I can either, set up a campaign that they're supposed to get or just have them all in AddressTwo already. So I did some digging, and guess what?
You found a tutorial video, I hope.
I actually figured it out on my own. But yes, tutorial videos. Well, I've seen it before. I just didn't know that I could use it for something other than a newsletter sign up because that's all I'd used it for in the past. And so I created a web form sign up for our events. We have Chalk Art Fest coming up at Hamilton Town Center June 9th.
Which looks awesome.
It's going to be so much fun.
Hopefully when I edit this, I'll put the picture up. Of what was that called? Not a flamingo.
I think it's like a peacock.
Peacock, that's
yes.
it.
So, over 2,000 people come to this event, and Hamilton Town Center has invited us to fill up a marketplace.
Indiana Originals.
Exactly.
Cool.
So we are going to take signups, and people have to pay, and then I have to get them the information. So I have created at IndianaOrigинals.com/ChalkArtFest2018.
Yep.
You can sign up right through our website, and that is an AddressTwo web form.
Web form that you click here. You get notification that the form's been filled out.
Yep.
They get added to the Hamilton County Chalk Art
Yep.
Festival
List.
so that you can correspond with them
Yep.
within what? Let's just say list, use this list, send email, 4 clicks.
Yeah.
Instead of all these individual emails out.
Right.
Then what you said, so you get all that on your side of things, but then the user also gets redirected to, hey,
Yes.
don't forget to pay.
Right, so I created a payment page in my website with the button right there. Thanks for signing up for Chalk Art Fest 2018.
Nice.
Please make your payment here. It has the price and then a button that says pay now.
Yep.
And it takes them there, and it's fantastic, and it looks super professional.
That's awesome.
There's
It
only
does
so
too,
much you
actually.
can do with Google Forms. They're really handy,
Yep.
but then your information is stuck there, and it just, Google has it.
Yeah.
And I need a way to keep it and track it easier and save time and make sure I'm keeping better track of people.
And then the one thing I would recommend is as you get closer to the event, June 9th, what I would recommend is when you get that list, take that list and go to use this list, export it as a CSV file. Once when you're in that export as a CSV file, just choose your fields upon export. So you'd export first name, last name, company name probably, and that may be it. So that you'd have this small, Excel file here. Then I hate to say, again, we make fun of Excel, but we also love Excel.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
It's a great tool to organize things. But what I would tell you is that then you take that Excel file, and this is where, again, I encourage people to have 2 computer screens. One for doing one thing, but the other for having your data or your Outlook account or your Gmail account up. But you want to go to your payment portal, if you will, and go through that list and add one more column that says make sure they paid. Check, 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 check. Troy filled out the form and didn't pay. Again, don't look at it as a bad opportunity. Look at it as a, hey, Troy, I saw you register for the Hamilton Town Center thingy, but I need your money.
Well, and that brings up another great point, too, is we rely so much on the internet, but being on the phone is so impactful. Being able to have that list and call people and be like, oh, my kid is sick. Our inventory is low. We're not going to be able to make it in a week. Okay.
Yep.
You get that information. So then you're not caught off guard at the actual event.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, even with our little interruption, we're still running on time, which is awesome. Cool. Well, anything else you might add about your experience of working with AddressTwo thus far, and why you think I hate to say that this has been actually really, really great from a process standpoint for our new users, and maybe even some of those that maybe they're not the power user at their company, is that start with the baby steps.
Right.
Start with I just need to stay in better contact with my top of mind with my contacts. I was actually reading a statistic the other day. What was it? Once you've implemented CRM into your business, you increase revenue by 41% or something like that on average.
Well, the fortune's in the follow-up. Fortune is in the follow-up. It really is. And if you don't have touch points with these people that you've made sales with, who says they're going to give you money again?
It's building those relationships is the biggest thing. I mean, you and I have known each other for probably 12 years, 10 to 12 years at least, if not longer than that.
Long time.
Which is how I stayed in contact with Mel over these years. And when she said, hey, I'm starting this thing, I said, hey, Indiana Originals, I'm an original software company here in Indianapolis. But it was all through CRM. I mean, it's so funny if you go look, if I went back to my comedy sports days, I used AddressTwo in there, and I could go see what we've talked about all the years when you were at Salvation Army.
Yeah.
I laugh to this day from the Red Kettle YouTube video. It's
Oh,
still
gosh.
posted. Do you remember that? How terribly it was. Anyway, you just build those relationships. Gary Varvel, if you have kids, don't ever watch him in the room, but he's a great business coach, and he says a lot of times is, especially with creating that all around warm feeling. He says a lot of times nowadays in the next 4 years, businesses are going to grow because of the relationships they grow, and that's how you do it through CRM. It's the consistent. Hey, you can't go to an Excel sheet and look and see when the last time you talked to somebody was, but you can go into your CRM. And
Yeah, not unless you created a column for it.
Right, and you're not going to put that in there even if you did. But going to your CRM where you're using it every day, adding history, sending out your weekly newsletters or monthly newsletters, you're going to be able to go in and say, when was the last time I talked to people that were customers?
Right.
Oh my gosh, there's 15, like for me actually, I know for a fact there's 17 customers I haven't talked to in 2 years. I just did that yesterday.
Wow.
And so I'll be reaching out to you, in the next few days. I don't know.
Well, I would say too, though, a lot of business owners, they go into business for whatever they're good at, okay? So for me, creative mind, marketing, great at sales, but I'm not great at the back end stuff.
Right.
And so even though Addie isn't a real person, sorry to reveal that if you didn't know that, I feel like she is my assistant. Like, oh, she's going to help me keep track of this. And I even picture her in my head sometimes, and I'm like, Addie's going to need that information. And so for someone like me that does have a lot of things going on and isn't necessarily the best taskmaster unless I have the list in like 4 different places, because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
Right.
Having a tool like
and
this.
Even then, have you ever lost something? Or had that feeling you lost, a Post-it note that you wrote something on?
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm missing a check stub, and I'm like, I hope my check stub is sitting next to just a scrap piece of paper. You know what I mean? And I'm like, from a business standpoint, that's thousands of dollars you're leaving on the table.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is, the task list that AddressTwo provides, it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. Like, hey, you need to remember to do this.
Yep.
You're right, I sure do.
Don't forget to pay your...
And I have an app right there, and there's no excuse for me to not remember it because it's in front of me.
Yeah. Like I said, I've told people, you guys have heard this before, I pay my car payment because of AddressTwo. I really do. When I got my car payment, I got the stubs instead of them mailing it to me.
Yeah.
And in the winter, my checkbook sits out in our cold outside office, and I have to, literally on the 28th, I see in my AddressTwo account. Now, honestly, it's 3 o'clock, 3:30. I have one to-do item, and that's it. And it's bugging me. So, like, when we're done here, I'm literally going to look at Nick and be like, I got to go home and pay my car payment so I get that thing off there.
Yeah.
You've seen videos of me in the past where I talk about making business a game. Well, we've talked about the process, make that the game, figure it out one step at a time. It's kind of like, literally the Super Bowl. I mean, really, I shouldn't say that.
Baby
on social
steps
media.
to get there.
The very big football game that happens in February.
Well, you're not using it for monetary gain. You're okay.
Okay.
You only have to call it the big game if you're making money off of promoting it.
I don't know. I am pretty famous on Facebook. But
we'll see if they come
after
you.
Look at those processes those teams do, and then to have a tool in place. And that's what I always refer to AddressTwo as a tool. Sometimes I refer to Addie that way as well, because I do want to wring her neck sometimes. Or I don't know about you, when you get that task list and like 10 of them are red, and you're like, oh, I hate that girl. But at the same time, you get stuff done. Like I said, to me, today I'm going to be, I got to get out of here. I need to go pay that bill, so I have nothing on my to-do list.
Well, and to wrap it up too, one of the biggest benefits of working with a local software company is that you really take in the opinions of your users. I know that, I send you suggestions or, hey, here's my frustration. Can you add this to an idea list? And I know that you have that.
Yep.
Because I know I've brought up some ideas that be like, hey, this would be really useful. And then I log on and I'm like, hey, apparently other people thought that might be really useful too, because we're using it and we're active and you're using it as well.
Yep.
It's not just a software that you created and then sent out into the world. You're using it too.
And would you find, as we wrap up here too, I noticed when I was onboarding IndianaOrginals, one of the big things I would say is you kind of had that fight, but using it every day is very beneficial.
It is. It's hard at first, but it's like working out. It's hard to work out. But once you start doing it consistently, you see the results. Like yesterday, I missed my butts and guts class.
Oh.
And I felt bad. Like, I was like, I should have gone.
Yeah.
And then this morning, I went to my dance class, and I've felt great all day.
That's awesome.
And it's the same thing. It's like when you use it, it actually does help you.
Yeah, when you clear those to-do items off, I know a lot of our viewers will have, they'll do that. They'll forget. They'll go delete the Addy email. Delete. Then they get in there and they have 50 overdue items. Well, number one is that if it's really that overdue, like we said earlier, just delete it.
Yeah, you probably didn't need to do
forgot
it
to follow
anyway.
up, and if you met somebody out networking 6 months ago and you didn't follow up, it's going to be real awkward when you're like, hey, remember me from
Go Google what they're doing and find an excuse to talk to them.
Delete it and start over again. But then when you do get back into it and you're clearing those items out, you get done, and either A, you've had that great phone call with a prospect, or B, you've helped a customer out because you followed up with them. Win. But it's stay consistent with it. Cool. Well, again, this is Mel McMahon Stone from Indiana Originals, IndianaOrginals.com. Awesome. Shop local.
Always.
Always.
If you can.
And support local. I mean, that's why AddressTwo is a member of Indiana Originals. That's why Indiana Originals uses AddressTwo. We see the benefit of, learning more about your folks and helping you guys, and it's been great. We have a lot of
members who use AddressTwo.
And we've had a lot of fun at the networking events, too. So make sure if you are local to Indianapolis and a local business, check out Indiana Originals. Come to one of their networking events. You don't even have to, honestly, don't even sign up. I mean, close your ears. Don't sign
RSVP.
Up. Don't sign, no, do RSVP, but don't go in and don't go in and immediately sign up for your account. Get out and meet other Indiana Originals. It's been great. I've been to 2 or 3 events. Matter of fact, she pulled up today. I was like, yesterday's was canceled. I can't wait until March. Which I hope that was good feedback.
Yeah.
I love the events, meeting other local
great people.
businesses, to learn more about how you can support local, and definitely appreciate your support over the years, Mel. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, this gets deleted, but I'll edit it and splice and all that fun stuff and put it all together, and you'll see it later tomorrow afternoon.
Yay.
Right back here on the AddressTwo Facebook page. And go like them on Facebook too.